Hello and welcome to Hillbilly Military Modeling. This is where I show you how I approach my modeling projects. And in this video, we will be building the Soviet armored car BA-3 by Zvezda in 1/35th scale. I hope you like the video, and if you do, please smash that like button. That will really help me out with the YouTube algorithm. So let's go ahead and get started on this. First up is to install the doors and engine access panel and also the vents for the engine compartment on the upper body assembly. That's easier said, huh? And one of the first things that I noticed is there is no positive stop for the doors. So I had to be very careful when I glued those into place, lining them up with the outside of the vehicle, the exterior. So yeah. Because of that, I had to wait for the glue to set up really nice so that I didn't accidentally push them out of alignment. And also with the front panel that covers the radiator, there are gaps on both sides that need to be filled. Had to do some cleanup. Ejector pin marks, of course, on the bottom side of the rear fenders. And here we are with the rear fenders assembled to the floor of the vehicle. And make sure that you get these square so that you don't have any issues when it comes time to glue the upper. And here you can see the upper body, it mates really good to them, so no alignment issues there. And as with most body parts here in this kit, there's a lot of flash. It seems to be the theme, but the flash cleans up, and the machine gun and the armored visor goes in no problems, no gaps, fits well. And next we have the lower armored skirts to put on. Now there is a large injector pin mark that needs to be removed, but there are nice details, and these clean up really nice. And of course our front fenders have a tremendous amount of flash, but it cleans off pretty good and sands down nicely. Doesn't take but a minute to do. I was worried about these lower skirts, but they fit really well. And the fenders fit well. The only problem that I had is that there are no locator marks or pinholes or anything for the front headlights, so you just kind of line those up as best you can and make sure that they're even left and right. Now, I did go ahead and put the headlight lenses in before I assembled and put the headlights onto the vehicle, which was a mistake. And for our engine assembly, now there are no alignment pins, and the bottom of the head has a huge injector pin mark I need to clean off. So make sure that you're really careful. I had to be really careful when I glued these halves together to make sure that they're lined up. Now the engine has plenty of details, so if you wanted to display the model with a one of the access covers open, then you have plenty to work with there. Next up, we have to cut the end of the frame rails off in order for it to fit this particular model. And they give you the measurements, and so I just sawed them off with my razor saw. And here, as you can see, the radiator pins don't align with the holes in the cross member that it's supposed to be mounted to. So I had to modify that a little bit to get the radiator where it was supposed to go. And now we get to our first real problem. The extensions on the inside of the rear fenders set right on top of the frame rail. I would have thought that the frame would have went up in between them, but it doesn't. And there aren't any alignment pins or anything for that. So as you can see, it leaves a huge gap. It's like 1.5 millimeters. And it looks like the front of the frame rail is supposed to align on those extensions there on those lower skirts. But I wanted to check and be sure, so I went ahead and I put this high-low gear case together. It's supposed to mount flush on the bottom of the body, and it doesn't. It's too much space there. But I'm not real sure if that's what I need to do, so I go ahead and make up the front axle and mount a tire and a wheel on it so that I can check the spacing between the front tire and the front fenders. And as you can see here, there's just too much space. It doesn't look right. So I'm going to have to modify it. Using an X-Acto blade, I trimmed those offending extensions off, filed them down, and I also took and polished it down a little bit with a sanding stick. And now the frame aligns nicely. And the transfer or 2-speed transmission case, it fits like it's supposed to. And now we have a more pleasing gap. So, I wasn't real sure about the geometry for the rear wheels with these other fit issues, so I went ahead and built up the rear suspension and put a couple of wheels on it just to check and make sure that they're located where they needed to be and not too far forward or too far back. So with those issues out of the way, I'm going to go ahead and glue everything up. Now the drive shaft does need to be adjusted some, so it's easily bent into shape. So there's flash on the front bumper. I had to clean that off. I just left it on the sprue to clean it off. That way it's easier to hold. And with other things on this kit, there were no pins or slots or anything for the front bumper bracket to align to, so you just kind of stick it where you think it belongs. And here I've got a couple of sanding sticks holding it in place while the glue sets up. Next up is the turret. Once again, we have no alignment pins for the halves of our turret, but it's not an issue. The turret goes together fairly well. Now, one of the things that you're going to have to do, which I'm doing here, is to drill out the end of the gun tube so that it looks like a gun tube. I mean, we have to have somewhere for our rounds to come out, right? So here we are. Now to get everything ready for paint, a little bit more filler on the bottom side of the turret. And also there's a sinkhole underneath the matlet, I guess. So I filled them and sanded them. And the last little issue is that the tires fit so tight on the rims that I went ahead and used my Dremel and relieved a little bit of that plastic, or it's not really plastic, but they're not really rubber either, so. But they're just so stiff they won't go on. And last but not least, when I was trying to put these rear rims together, the inner ones have a hub on it because they're exactly like the front wheels, and I had to take and file that hub off so that I could get the two rims to mate the way they're supposed to and line up. And with that, all the hard stuff's done. And here we are with our assembled model. Now, Zvezda only provides one spare tire. Would have been nice if they had two. I guess that's part of the cost cutting. But That being said, with all the fit issues and everything that I had with it, I really wish that they had maybe the engineers done a much better job, so we wouldn't have had all these issues with it. But it does build up into a nice representation of the Soviet BA-3. Now this kit goes for $23 US. Hobby Boss makes one. That's about $9 more, and I'm thinking maybe I should have spent the extra $9. Maybe I'll get that one later and check it. Do I recommend this one for beginners? Not really. Now, I did have to replace a part that I lost, and that's this rear lifting eye. I just made it out of stripped out phone wire, the copper, and wrapped it around a appropriately sized drill bit and glued it into place. And also, this kit does not come with door handles, so I went through my spare parts. I think these door handles, well, they were just grab handles for I think it was a T-34, but they kind of do the job, so I used 3 of those. And with that, that completes this video. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you choose to build this model, just understand that you're going to have some little issues that you're going to have to take care of. So go ahead and look out for the next video, which is where I paint and weather this one. So until then,